Well, Peter, thanks for taking a walk with me here on this absolutely gorgeous day. This is heaven.
Yeah, this is it. I ordered this specifically designed for this walk. It's happening.
Is there an app for ordering ahead on
No,
weather?
it's not an app. You have to use just a laptop. It's good. It's really taking a long walk. Maybe 7-9 miles. It's something that, because we lived in Manhattan for a couple of years, we just got used to. That'll really do it. And come back and with a changed perspective. That's guaranteed. Sometimes you may come back with a worse perspective, but it'll be changed. That's all you need.
And it's at different points. It can alter the perspective. So, as someone who lived in the city, people watching can change your perspective, right?
Yeah, depending on what you see and hearing other conversations.
So the art of songwriting is fascinating to me as a fan of music. So pardon the question, but how often does it start with a unique title and then you work backwards? Does that happen a lot at all?
Yeah, it definitely happens. I mean, I would sort of describe what I consider the optimal writing experience right now, which is you're starting with absolutely nothing. No preconceived thought, no inspiration, no, I'm going to write a song about X, Y, or Z. You sit down and play, and you sort of allow insights to gather, and it's kind of where they lead you, and typically that'll take you to a place you've never been before. There's an analogy. There's a painter, Jasper Johns, a famous American painter, who at some point in his career said, "Why would I paint what I already know?" He didn't have a preconceived notion. He'd go to the canvas and just start with the seminal line and see where that took him, and that's kind of how I would prefer to go,
And how many moments of trial and error does it take before you reach something you're happy with?
I don't really have that. I wouldn't couch it like that. I mean, when something comes, some idea, I hate to be too much analyzing it. Maybe I don't want to analyze it too much and look under the hood, but we shall. You have to be very accepting of everything in its nascent form. So like, oh, this sucks. No, or this sucks. Just like breathe life into it. You can always reject it later and see where it goes. So I don't really have experiences where I throw up my hands and this just sucked. Like if it isn't coming, maybe I'll have a piece of something for later. And that's just something that I always have natively done, to have a very wide open birth of acceptance.
But that's how, from my perception of you outside of your songwriting, that's your mode in life.
Well, I mean, certain things for me are like absolutely not, but I guess when I'm stepping into making something, there's tell this to people too, I do some songwriting classes. It should be 99.9% yes. And leave the no's for later. There, also it's like throwing, clay down on a potter's wheel. You can't do anything if you haven't thrown the clay down on the wheel. You can't change or alter a song if there is no song to alter. You have to create something to work with. It's very difficult, I say sardonically, to work with nothing. It's impossible to do.
Peter, what are some causes that are important to you these days?
Well, I mean, let's see, education and creativity, which I said in another part of our interview. I don't like to use that word, but allowing experiences in education that will allow a person to feel their own strengths. That to me is a primary feature of education, and to me there's an extreme paucity of it. People do walk around with a lot of negative self-judgment, in spite of all the braggadocio that goes on social media. Many people feel really pretty poorly about themselves. I mean, we all do at times. And education, which will say, hey, let's examine your strengths and let's support them and let's build them so that you can rely on them. Again, it's 99.9 yeses to the 0.1 no.
I really appreciate you taking a walk, your gracious, your generosity, your openness, and your creativity. So thank you very much, Peter.
My pleasure, Buzz. It's great. Thank you.